continuing story of Peyton Place. Starring Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie, Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, Mia Farrow as Allison Mackenzie, Ryan O'Neill as Rodney Harrington, Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson, Tim O'Connor as Elliot Carson, Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington.
Frustrating murder trial of Rodney Harrington reaches its final chapter. The witnesses have been called, the closing arguments given, and the judge has instructed the jury on the law of the case. And now, 12 men and women forced to keep silent must make themselves heard.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, before you begin deliberations, a word of caution. There have been too many side issues in court.
Allison, we're being slapped on the wrist.
As intelligent men and women, you will disregard these antics.
Sounds more like a punch in the mouth.
Counsel for the prosecution have been cautioned throughout the trial, and in fact, reprimanded on this point. The court charges you to disregard their obvious bids for sympathy or prejudice.
How can they forget what they've already seen? That's a good question.
You are to reach a verdict based on the evidence introduced and my instructions on the law. The only triumph here is the ascertainment of truth. Jury will begin deliberations. Court stands adjourned.
Good job, Stephen, considering what you had to work with. Thanks, John.
A message from headquarters.
Mr. Harrington?
What is it, Thomas?
Mr. Peyton would like to invite you and Rodney to dinner.
Tonight?
Yes, sir.
Usual advance notice.
Sir?
All right, tell her we'll be there.
Right, sir.
Congratulations, Dad. You made the big time.
It's obvious he has something more than a quiet dinner on his mind.
It's the rules of the game, Rod. No matter how dirty or vicious the trials have been, the prosecuting attorney always congratulates the defense attorney on a job well done. And then the defense attorney congratulates the prosecuting attorney.
The law. Gee, it's a funny game.
Well, I suppose it serves its purpose, though. Lets off a little steam and makes the waiting a little easier.
How did you wait?
Playing cards. With a guard that was friendlier than most. Used to bring me cigarettes and talk about baseball. He's dead now.
How long was your jury out?
Not long enough. You've got a lot more going for you than I did. Don't try to outguess them, Rod. They're too full of surprises. Well, I think I better get back to the Clarion.
Well, thank you for the company.
Anytime.
Mr. Fowler's not quite as confident as he'd like us to think.
Let's get back to the inn, Rod. And wait for the jury's footsteps? No, thank you.
Come on, Rod. Whatever you're having, I'll buy.
For what it's worth, I think you did okay.
Well, thanks. Norman?
No, thanks. I'm too young to drink and too old to watch. He is innocent. you find him that way?
It says jury's out, not world to end in the morning.
I'm not sure there's a difference.
If you borrow ahead on trouble, you only pay for it twice. Now, go on up and cook dinner for your husband. Face it together, like you've been doing right along.
We haven't faced anything. We just tried to be happy while we could.
The more you help each other over the hard spots, the more you become man and wife. Now, go on up where you belong.
All right, Mr. Carson. Hi.
Hi.
It's getting dark out.
Yeah.
Guess what I got for dinner?
I pass.
Pork chops.
Good.
I'm going to try that new recipe with mushroom sauce. If you can stand it.
Great.
Hey, I even remember those spiced apple rings that you like.
What are we celebrating?
Hey, you hate me?
It could have been me instead of Rod. He was fighting my battles. If anyone should go to prison,
No. You can't change what already is.
I've done everything wrong. If they find him guilty, I can blame myself.
And me? It all started with me. We're a very special couple. For the rest of our lives, we'll remember our wedding anniversary, the day I took the stand to testify against your brother. You can look at me and think, she helped put him there. My wife.
Stop it. I hope my brother gets lucky. Please, Rod, get lucky.
Dinner's almost ready, Sean.
Oh, just as soon as I finish this. Oh, no, thanks. Can I fix you a drink?
No, thank you. It's up to the jury now.
Yes.
Waiting's difficult, isn't it?
Well, I'm used to it.
I was thinking about Rodney Harrington. And I suppose myself.
You can't compare an automobile accident with willful murder.
The Chernak boy's death may also be an accident. Isn't that what Rodney Harrington said?
You expect him to plead guilty?
John, in all those weeks in the courtroom, didn't you ever once doubt that the boy you were prosecuting was a murderer?
Why? Because Rodney's a nice, clean-cut young man who can look me straight in the eye on the witness stand?
How do you know your witnesses were telling the truth?
Who, Stella Chernak?
All of them.
Well, you have to rely on your experience and on your ability to judge character.
You take them on faith.
No, on facts, Mary. A prosecutor takes all the facts of the case, the evidence, the motives, the opportunity, and he puts them all together to prove guilt beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt.
What about an unreasonable shadow? I lied to you, John. And you believed me.
Well, I've wasn't objective in your case.
All those people on the witness stand, you don't even know them. They're strangers. Isn't there one little doubt?
To a certain extent, a prosecutor
John,
has
just
to...
one little doubt. Like the one your father never gave Elliot Carson.
These things happen, but not very often. Justice is bound to be imperfect.
How long was he in prison?
You afraid Carson's going to be vindictive towards you?
He doesn't have to be. He has all the facts on his side. The fact that I hit his daughter, the fact that I didn't stop to help her, the fact that neither one of us reported the accident. Of course, there's the fact that you didn't know about it, but Elliot Carson doesn't believe that. Maybe he's like you, John. Maybe he puts things in little drawers marked truth and lie, right and wrong, guilty and not guilty. And if some of those things just get in the wrong drawer, maybe he can use your explanation. Justice isn't perfect.